Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Maker's Viewpoint podcast. This is episode 11. My name is Dylan, and I'm joined as always by Chris from Toolify
Hey, everybody.
and Justin from You.
Hey guys.
So, Justin, what have you been up to since last week?
Last week, bunch of stuff. I finished school, graduated, done with that. Finished high school, that is. Now moving on. I didn't get too
Exciting.
much stuff done. I spent all day yesterday, finally cleaning the shop, getting back out there. Just rearranging stuff, being able to finally use it. I have a bunch of projects lined up, and I know we always say that, but I actually do. And then I finally got my CNC up and running, my new one. And I spent about till 2:30 in the morning on a hangout, just chilling with other guys on the Facebook forum, wiring it up and getting it all done. 2:30 in the morning, my time it is. And then, I finally did the first cut today and totally failed. And it ripped it right out, didn't use any tabs, even though it said it was going to use tabs. And I'm sure it was an error on my behalf, and that's what you get. It's total karma for not watching it. I just kind of clicked go and let it go and would pop in on it. And it cut fully through my wasteboard, the exact shape that I had in my wood. So I'm going through 3/4 inch wood, and it cut fully through 3/4 inch wood and then fully through the wasteboard again, which is nice because it's, a brand new, nice, clean piece. And then you have a chunk taken out. It's a decent size. So that's where I'm at right now. And now we're recording the podcast. Anything else that I've done? I bailed on that tiki pole project I told you guys I was going to do. I started doing it. The wood was way too hard. I gave up. I didn't want to buy anything. So it's gone. Did not do that. What else have I worked on? Nothing besides just cleaning, getting everything up and running. I got all my tools back from the client's house I was working at. And I'm just happy that I can finally start doing some projects before I go off to college. Yeah. Chris, what about you?
Congrats on high school. That's one
Thank
step
you.
closer.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and sorry about the CNC. Is it easy to? I mean, what is that? It's MDF wasteboard.
It's MDF, but it's
got threaded inserts or something.
and I just finished putting all the threaded inserts in it. What I'll probably do is I'll probably take that piece because it's a perfect clean outline. Is I'll glue it back in with a piece underneath it. So it's we'll try. We'll see what.
Or just upscale it and then cut a new piece that fits it perfectly.
That I could do that too. Or what if I just leave it open so then I can do like through mortises, right? If I have long pieces, I could just stick it up from underneath. I'll never do through mortises, so it's fine. I'll never do that. That's not my type of woodworking. I don't even use glue sometimes. It's just screws and nails. So we'll try that. Not high end.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
I've been doing some stuff. I guess offline is the best way to describe it, but I got a request to build sort of like a commission, a client thing. Somebody wanted to purchase one of my router templates and they wanted me to build it. So I said yes. And as always, those things take longer than you anticipate. So that's kind of what I've been doing more or less this week. Now that's done and I will be shipping it out tomorrow. Yeah, that's about it. Looking forward to getting my hands dirty with more stuff later this week.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Dylan, what about you?
My week has been pretty hectic. Seems like the last year of my life, every single week has been hectic, but this one especially. I don't even know where to start. Last podcast ended. I said I had found a van. Well, I purchased it the next day. So got that settled. That was definitely a big, interesting process that I've never done before. So it's the first major purchase on my own, which was nerve-wracking to say the least. But I have a van now. So I bought a 2013 Ford Transit Connect. It has 63,000 miles on it. Got a pretty darn good deal. I got it for like 11.3, and I think it was valued at like 12.4. So felt really good about that. It's like it's pretty sweet looking. It doesn't look like a builder's van. It's like all blacked out and has some sweet rims on it. It came with like a dash cam. They had upgraded the stereo system in there, so there's like Bluetooth and all that kind of stuff, and as a backup camera.
That's
So I actually got a pretty sweet deal on it, and I've already been driving it like crazy. Have three trips planned already with it, so that's cool. Next week we are headed to Oklahoma. Sky took Oklahoma for the Video Woodworkers event. If it's not too late for you, I definitely recommend you checking that out and coming out and saying, hey, there's going to be a lot of us there. There's a lot of really, really big names there. You can go search videowoodworkers.com and get all the info. But yeah, so we're headed there next week, and it's 2 weekends from now, I think. It's
Now, are
the
there any mountains?
23rd.
Are there any mountains to climb in Oklahoma?
Oh yeah, that's what I was getting to. So we're leaving Monday instead of leaving Thursday, heading to the Wichita State Mountains, which is the like lower west side of Oklahoma, and we're going to go do a 2-day backpacking trail across the Wichita Mountains, which ought to be really cool. Molly and I are going to do it. It'll be her first backpacking experience, which will be cool. And ordered way too much stuff for that this week. It's all good stuff that I needed that I'll be using a lot this year. But yeah, that was the first. Well, that was the second major hit of the week as far as money goes. The first was the van for sure, and then what else do I have going on? So next week, going to climb mountains, going to Sky took Oklahoma. Also this week, I've been working on a secret project that I've sort of been teasing on Instagram on my stories. So if you want to see what it looks like, go check that out. Well, it'll be gone now, but maybe I'll have a picture up by now. So, but I can't really talk about it. I just finally read through the disclosure agreement about it, but it's going to be really cool. I can tell you what I'm building. Can't tell you what it's for, though. I'm actually going to build, or I am building, it's pretty much done. It's a coffee table. The base of the coffee table is all made from copper tubing, 3/4 inch copper tubing that I've soldered all together. I turned some little walnut feet that get inserted into the copper pipe at the bottom. At the top is a 2-foot by 4-foot sheet of plywood. And then on that sheet of plywood, I did a mosaic tile top with some like faux marble ceramic tile, and then grouted it all and then wrapped the whole thing, edge banded it basically in aluminum. So it's just real funky, cool and coffee table. I don't know if I can. I shot a video for it for what I'm doing this for, but I'm not sure if I can release like a edited version of that video for YouTube, but hopefully I can. And if I do, then you'll be able to see the full project. I'll be posting pictures of it though, for sure. And then hopefully maybe in a month or so or less, I can tell you what the surprise is. Hopefully it's really good news. And and it will be probably the craziest, biggest opportunity of my life so far, if it works out. But that's all I can say. So follow me on Instagram, plug, and yeah, and then you'll be the first to find out on Instagram for sure what all this is about if it goes down. I don't even know if it's going to happen. You may never hear anything else about it. Yeah, that's what I've been up to. I know we have a pretty interesting topic today.
Yeah. So speaking
Justin,
of
take over.
Disclosure agreements, right?
Hold on 1 second. I got another disclosure agreement. So this is like the first time I've sat down all day. I've been doing. I don't have to, but I did this whole project all today. So this is the first time I've sat down, the first like bit of food I'm gonna get. So if you're watching this, I'm gonna be muting my mic and eating food. So sorry in advance.
Disclosure.
But yeah, just a little disclosure. All right, go ahead. Somebody take it away.
Chris, you're in the middle saying, sorry, you said, speaking of disclosure.
Yeah, speaking of other things that require non-disclosure agreements, we're going to talk about sponsors today and some of our experiences and thoughts. Justin, do you want to start?
So I'm still fairly new to the whole sponsor things. But a lot of times people ask me how I either go, do they either contact me or do I approach them, and how I do it. Usually I when I first started doing it and I was younger, my whole philosophy behind it was, if you're respectful to them, totally just, how do I word this? Totally like not abide by their rules, but like if you're gonna reach out to them, when I used to email them, I'd be like, it's totally okay if you're not interested, and if you are interested, you could send me like the minimalist amount of stuff. It's totally okay. Looking at it now, I definitely feel that you should. There's good aspects for you need to stick up for yourself and be assertive on certain things, whether that being getting paid for sponsorship deals or trading equal amount what you think your time should be paid in tools or in equipment. I haven't personally done anything with getting paid myself. Companies have generously donated stuff to me, tools and equipment, but I've never actually been paid for stuff. I've just donated my time in return, which was, in my opinion, I think it was fine. I think that's an equal amount of trading. But what I usually do is I reach out to them. I'll send an email, something in the regards of like, not only is it going to be helping grow my channel and my content, but I feel that it will also send my viewers in your direction towards your company, right? If you're going to be seeing the products I'm using, and in my case, when I first started doing it, my whole thing was, if you see a 15 or 14-year-old kid using these tools, I feel like not only will be a lot less intimidating for your client base, but if you show a 14-year-old putting one together and who doesn't have a lot of tools, who doesn't have a really expensive shop, people are gonna be like, oh, well, I could easily get on that. I could do that. I could jump right into that. That's how I used to look at it. I would say more so now. I can't say that because I'm 18 and my shop has grown to where I have tools that some people do not. So I can't really say that anymore. But I still do the whole, I feel if people are seeing your products, it's not only product placement, but it's a win-win situation for both of us, whether it being the company and the content creator. For me, I feel it's a win-win because I'm showing the tools and products that I actually enjoy using. I'm not just putting them out there because I want to or have to, but I truly enjoy them and I think they're good products. And I'll give my honest opinion on them. And then the company gets this feedback and then sees that these viewers are viewing their products. And when I first started YouTube, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what Rockler was until I started seeing them in videos, right? I didn't know what their products were. I didn't know the company name. I just saw their products. And if it was, we don't even have a Rockler near where I live. So if it wasn't for YouTube, I would have no idea what that is. And that type of product placement, I think, did really, really well for their company. But I guess that's what I have to say is just what I do is I try and trade my time for giving an honest review and honest opinion of stuff than necessarily getting paid. I know people are a lot different about that. And I do think at some point in time, I will need to start talking to companies about valuing my time. Is it worth getting paid for this type of promotion and such? But at this point in time for my channel, I feel like it's not too important for me considering I don't post too much content. Chris, what about you? Or Dylan, either one. Feel free to chime in.
Yeah, I mean, well, what we're talking about at this point is basically how we go about approaching sponsors and to an effect cold calling, or more technically cold emailing them, just sending an email saying, hey, this is my media online presence. Are you interested in having your products pop up over here? This is the kind of audience that I'm able to reach. See, interesting. When I have done this with when I've contacted people to like say, hey, I'm interested in your product. Would you like to send it to me for free, kind of thing? And I've never. In that case, I haven't asked for money with it. I would normally ask for the product. I haven't like given them that, and you're making me think about whether I should be doing this, and I think it's a good idea. I haven't given them an explanation of like what benefit they can have, like the way you describe it as, oh, it's going to be really cool to show a young person using this, that kind of thing. I've always just said, hey, this is what I do, check it out. But then it's like, I feel you're doing a better job at valuing their time than I am.
No, I always felt, I always felt
it's a tip I'm gonna steal.
Why should I justify, or why should this company justify sending something to someone who doesn't have a lot of subscribers at this point in time? I would always keep that in my head. Like, this is a huge company. I could be, and I don't know if this is true, but in their mindset, I could be no one to them, right? So why should they justify sending or spending time to just send equipment out to me? So that's why I always try to give a reason for it. But I know people at the same time who've never given a reason, and they'll get stuff right off the bat. But also one key thing I think that I forgot to leave out is, have you ever had companies or spam things contact you trying to get you persuaded to work for them? And then I feel like that's definitely when you need to stick up for yourself and see how to justify your time and pay for a company for you to give product placement in your video when they contacted you, and not necessarily you wanting that in the beginning.
Yeah, that's very true. And yeah, some of them are a lot more aggressive than others in terms of trying to reach out to you. Some will just email you, and like, I feel bad ignoring emails, but I guess in a few cases I've had to. Sometimes I'll just reply and to be nice and say, okay, no, I'm not interested. But the issue I've run into there is that I'll reply, and even though I say I'm not interested, then they're like, oh, great, this person replied, because maybe they don't get very many replies. I imagine that kind of mail comes across often, very often as spam, and most people might ignore it. But being nice, I say, no, not interested. And then they'll come back and say, oh, well, are you interested in this or this or this or this? Like, they'll list out a bunch of other things that maybe they're able to offer. And I don't know, I have to learn to perhaps ignore stuff like that. I've had people ask me to, I guess not that unusual at the end of the day, like saying it out loud, it sounds really funny that I'm making such a big deal out of it. But again, something that I consider aggressive behavior, getting people, I've had emails asking me for people to add them on Skype once we have a bit of a conversation on email. It's silly, but you know, where I mean to go with this really, my actual takeaway is my experiences with sponsors and companies, corporations has been very different from company to company. And it's really about seeking out those that are nicer to work with from my perspective, those that understand scheduling and understand that just because you're going to send me like something that's, you know, a $50 product or whatever it may be, not to put any fixed value on it, but ballpark, some relatively inexpensive product, just because you're going to send that to me for free doesn't mean it's going to become my top priority. And I apologize for going on a rant right now, but I've had one really sour experience here. Just because you're going to send me that doesn't mean it's going to become my top priority, and you don't have the permission to email me like on a weekly basis saying what's the status, when I had made sure to clearly set the expectation for this particular relationship that it would be a few months until the video that I had in mind would be ready. But anyway, I'm just saying that out loud. And if anyone happens to want to change the topic or has suggestions for dealing with that kind of stuff, or if you've dealt with that, feel free to chime in.
I'll go on my full rant.
By all means, go ahead.
For sure. All right. So I think the first thing I want to say is when I say sponsored, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, and I'm not calling anybody out for this. Some people just don't know this, but it's when you say payment as well as product. And so I see a lot of times on Instagram, especially, people get like a drill or something. They're like, I'm sponsored by Rigid. Well, not really. And you downgrade the value of that name whenever you do that. So I want to get that out first, that when we talk about sponsors, or when I talk about sponsors, I mean product plus pay. So now with that settled, oh guys, I'm really tired, so I'm sorry that I might lose my words here.
It's okay.
All right. Where do I want to start with this? I guess I'll start with how to approach a sponsor and the different ways to approach one, or how you may come across one. So first of all, I want to say, though, you should know your place. You should know your value before you ever contact or get contacted by a company. Like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but if you have less than 500 subscribers, you shouldn't just automatically expect people to hand you stuff out for free. Maybe you've got like viral videos and then somebody might. But I would say a general assumption is you could probably get free stuff in that range, or free stuff like under 2,000 or 3,000 pretty easily. But when you start talking about getting paid, you're going to need that, at least in my experience. And some people are totally fine with just getting product. And the way you should judge that is your full-time job. Do you rely on an income from this? What do you plan on getting out of it? And what do they want in return? So, the first question you ask is this your full-time job? If it is, you're obviously going to have to get money for it, because you can't feed your kids on free Makita drills. That just doesn't work. But also you have to realize that what do they want? Like, maybe you're in a position where you can just get free stuff and it doesn't matter to you because it's maybe a hobby and you have a decent audience, where you're getting, let's say, you have an audience of like over 10,000 subscribers, or even better yet, like over 20,000 subscribers, and you're just taking free stuff. This is all in my opinion, guys. I'm pulling this out of my head. No one else is really. If you're just getting free stuff and never asking for anything, never asking for money, you're really taking value away from yourself, especially if you're promoting their product in a way that most people would get paid for. For me, I'm totally cool if anybody sends me anything. I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. You can send me anything. Don't expect anything in return from it, though. I may love it. I may hate it. I may use it. I may not. Who knows? And if it shows up in a video, it shows up in a video. But until there is an exchange of actual money or we've done stuff in the past and I have a very good relationship with you. Don't expect a 30-second ad for your drill. I don't do that sort of thing because it downgrades my value in the future, not only with that brand, but with many others. Because what people don't realize is that most bigger brands use third-party agencies. And these third-party agencies are all like pretty much connected. And they keep all of your data. Like if you can figure out who the third-party agent is you're working with, a lot of times you can go search yourself and see how much they're expecting to pay you through a bigger brand. Like it, because all these brands, they pick and choose third-party agencies to go through. So like anytime you take less than what you're worth, they take a little note of that. Basically, they know that, okay, last time we paid them $500 to do this. So even though you may change a brand, you may be working with the same third-party agency who has all your records of anybody you've worked with in the past. So you need to keep that in mind, that if you're doing that, that you could potentially be lessening your value. Maybe not though. They may. I mean, if you know your value and you come back to them and want money later, then they'll know your value. But if you're already getting paid fairly well and you're proving yourself, maybe you could end up getting more. What were you going to say, Chris?
The advice I would give is, in the event that someone attempts to contact you, like a third party contacts you, seeking to arrange a cooperation or a sponsorship really, where you will be paid to make a video, it may be worthwhile to send a direct message email to the company and try to get something worked out without the third party involved. There isn't too much risk in actually approaching them, right? You just sort of say, hey, I heard you're interested in this kind of thing. Maybe would you like to work on something? And that way,
yeah.
Otherwise, a third party can take a significant cut.
And I was going to say, I was going to take off. Hold on, didn't. Sorry. But before that, even companies that don't use third parties, if you're going to go ahead and email them, I'm very specific on who I was going to send the email to. Like, even if it just says email help desk or info or sponsorship, most of the time I know that they're either not going to look at it too much or they'll just kind of brief over it. Right. There are some companies that are heavily involved on sponsoring channels that actually understand YouTube and all this stuff, right, that we do in the maker community, and they understand that. And there's other companies that will send you out stuff just because they see that you have over 500,000 subscribers and they want their equipment put out there. And then you can meet them in person. They'll have no idea who you are whatsoever, right? And they'll be like, oh yeah, whoops, I whatever.
And that's what I was sort of getting at is, and Chris, you're probably right. And so depending on the size of company that you're dealing with, you're working with a marketing agency that's made up of like 20 to 100 people, maybe even like that big. And then they're coordinating the information back to the marketing team at the other company, who is also massive. And they're dealing, the one that's actually for the main company, they deal with a lot of stuff. They don't have time to coordinate YouTube deals. They just really don't. It's not, I don't think YouTube is big enough yet for them to fully in-house take on that. And I'm talking about like, major, probably billion-dollar companies is what I'm talking about, like stuff that's small, because most of them don't use third party. But I do believe that what you're saying, Justin, that these people will not know you, that like they're not going to know you because it's somebody sitting at a desk in an office full of 100 people.
Yeah.
And then the person that they report to just signs off.
Yeah.
They're just, you got to realize when you're dealing with marketing people, it's their job to make that company money. That is their job. Like your job is to build custom furniture, whatever it is. Their job is to make that company money. So if you can't show that person how you're going to make that company money, they're not going to want to deal with you, because you're putting their job at risk. They can't be making deals that are just because they like you. If you're dealing with a smaller company whose marketing people are also maybe even part of the business platform as well, like, or they only have like 2 or 3 marketing people and they're like over the entire marketing platform of the, they do, whole yards. They're not digital media or just even further, either specifically on YouTube. They don't usually do things because they like you. They do things to make the company money, so they keep their job. So whenever you submit anything, like if you're reaching out to a company, you need to make sure that you show them your value, because you're not dealing with the head honcho. You're dealing with somebody's assistant and maybe even that person's assistant, and they're trying to keep their job. So they're not even going to take the time to pass up something that they can't easily look at and say, hey, there's value here. Like, even if you just send a link to your channel or a link to where they can go find your analytics, they're going to do that because it takes too much time. But if the first number that pops up on the screen is 300,000 views a month, they're like, okay, this is worth checking out. So you have to lay that stuff out for them easily and not do. I can't stand this one. I hear this a lot and I see it a lot where people think that if they send some company a sob story about why they deserve a tool, and less how they're going to make the money, make that company money, they don't care about that stuff. Like if you send something to somebody and you're like, I'm a 14-year-old kid who's to do this, I don't have any money, I need a drill. Well, that might work 1 out of 10 times, but for the most part, they're going to say, sorry.
Yeah, they're
where's
gonna be
the
like,
value? Like
exactly.
it is a like, people don't realize it's a business. Like they have to be making money off of these sponsorship deals. They don't do them just for publicity. I mean just for handing stuff out. They're doing it to make more money. That's the whole point.
And that's kind of like what I was getting
You got to
at
be able to
earlier.
show them your value.
You have to justify it, right? You have to justify yourself. This is a huge corporation, huge company. Why should they single you out? Yeah, exactly what you said. You could be a 14-year-old kid. And when I did contact the company, I was 14 at the time, and they totally did exactly what you said. I did do a sob story. I was very trying to be justifiable on why they should, and I wasn't offended by it at all, because it's a huge, it was a big company, and they have no right to send something out to me. I shouldn't feel obligated that I need to get something for them just because I sent an email. It's very, very true what you're saying, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
That what you just answered is probably the number one question I get about my channel, is people ask, well, at the time you were super young, so how'd you do it? Because when I email them, they usually just blow me off or something in those regards.
You've got, okay, and also you have to, like you were saying, Justin, you have to, this is the whole nother segue of the whole sponsorship thing. You have to make sure you're talking to the right person. Don't send out some generic email to every single contact form at the bottom of every single possible place that you want something from.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You're not going to get in touch with anybody that you need to be talking to. You need to figure out, and there are ways to do it, and I'm not going to tell you how, because I figured them out on my own. You can figure out for yourself.
Okay.
This is the golden ticket. Figure this out on your own, and you'll have success. Figure out how to find the actual marketing employee, head of marketing, or any person that has marketing behind their title to the company you want to talk to. Find their email. It's out there. It's not hard. There's also places that you can contact their media from that aren't the contact form on the page. If you look a little bit deeper into the page, you might find someone's email that's marketing related. That generic contact form is just a massive dump of lost emails that don't ever do anything.
Yeah.
So make sure, like Justin was saying earlier, that you're sending it to the right person in the right place. And so also I want to talk a little bit about like how to get a sponsor, because I know that's sort of the topic. Like, how do you get a sponsor?
Before you jump into that,
there's two ways.
I was going to say,
go ahead.
Taking off what you're saying of finding the right person. When it comes time for you to send that email, I always make sure it's professional, but at the same time, personal, right? You said don't do a generic one.
Yeah.
You can use some same phrases that you use in other ones, but never do I ever copy and paste a paragraph in each one, because companies will read it and they'll think, wow, this dude just sent it out to any company they can get, and they just deleted the name and put a new name in it for the company. I always try and make it somewhat a little bit personal, showing that I actually spent the time to do research on them and justifying again why they should. And that's how I feel that most of the times I get the deals, which surprise me that I do. And I don't get too many, right? I have a small channel, and I wouldn't say speaking for other small channels, but definitely for other people that I know have tried doing it who have smaller channels than I do. That's definitely the way I try and jump on it. Sorry, go on. I cut you off.
Yeah. And let me say something about the small channel scene, because I know I said 500 earlier, but you know, we were able to, and I'm not going to name names, you know who it is already, but we were able to show value at between 300 and 500 subscribers. We were able to show value to a company that we've done deals with ever since. It's not about making the one big deal. It's about making a persona for yourself to a company that's likable, that they might want to do more stuff with you in the future. They may not be able to handle something right now, but if you make a memorable enough impact on them, maybe they'll do something with you in the future. So keep that in mind, and it's so that if you're a small channel, I don't remember how I did this at the beginning, because at the beginning I had zero idea what I was doing. But if looking back, what I would try to do as a small channel is less reaching out for specific products and more reaching out to companies to check you out, just to let them know you're there. Don't have any expectations for them. Just say, hey, I'm new to the scene. I'm posting weekly videos or whatever it is. Like, make sure you make yourself sound like you're going to be professional about it. Have multiple videos already uploaded, and say, hey, keep me on your contact list. I've got big plans for this. Hope you enjoy it. Maybe sometime in the future we can do probably the way I would go if I look back at it again, because a lot of at the beginning was me just meeting the right people, and now actually being able to do stuff with them. So
you said a very key thing.
Small channel,
key thing about make sure you have content uploaded already. You can contact a company and you can have the best spiel you've ever had in your life, but if you don't have stuff to show, like, here, check out my channel, or here, this is some of the work I've done, why would they want to send stuff to you if they don't even know what you're saying is true? Right? I mean, I also have people that have reached out to me asking, hey, I really want to go for this big name brand company because I see they're doing it a lot of other people. And I'm like, yeah, go for it. They're like, well, is it weird that I don't have a YouTube channel yet? Or I do, I just don't have any content on it yet. You can have subscribers, but if you don't have anything on it, I think that's a little weird, don't you? I would say what I always said is wait a little bit. Even if you have all the means to reach out to them and you are a very respected person and you can word stuff very well, I would still wait until you get somewhat of a little bit of a following, or not even a following, just to have content out there showing that you're trying, showing that you're caring, you're doing it weekly or stuff like that.
Yeah. And also I want to make a comment about, like, because I hear that all the time too, about like, oh, especially with some of the people that I work with, but it's like, oh, they're sponsoring a bunch of people right now. Let me send out an email to them. And like, someone to give a good example of, we haven't worked with, but someone like Wrangler or something like that. I know they did like one thing at a time where like they sponsored a bunch of people to do like, well, what those are that you're seeing, that's like a budgeted, like planned way in advance marketing like surge. Like they plan out like 2 or 3 months or maybe even just a month, and they just blast out like one new product across like everyone's channel, and everyone uploads them at the same time. So if you're already seeing them, you're probably too late.
Yeah.
If it's someone that you're like, oh, well, that's new, and now they're sponsoring people, they're probably promoting a singular product, you know, for that one thing. So maybe that's a good opportunity for you to reach out, not asking for something, but reach out, letting them know you exist, so that maybe the next time they do a promotion, they'll come to you.
And I bet you they've met those people ahead of time in person as well, too. Like what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Connections. It's always about connections. You can email them, but if you can find a way to physically meet that company that you're really interested in person, that's your best interview. That's your best bet on trying to get stuff out of them, just making a good impression. Like you said earlier, when I email companies, I don't say, I would really like this one specific thing. I usually say, I started off by contacting them about, here's what I do. If you guys are interested, I would love to hear back from you. And then if they are, then I'll start being like, well, I have this idea in mind if you guys would be interested in sponsoring it, or not sponsoring, if you guys would be interested in supplying it, right? Because what you said, Dylan, earlier, again, key sponsored is paid promotion. Mine would be just not like donating, but like product placement.
Yeah, I don't know what you.
Yeah, and my comment here would be that it really depends on a lot on the size of the company you're dealing with. I mean, that you did touch on this, Dylan, but yeah, if you're dealing with like a multi-million-dollar corporation, you're going to approach that relationship very differently than you will something that you know is like a family business, or if it's run by like a 1 or 2 people. Very different way of
Yeah.
And
that difference would be on the smaller company side, way more personal. And on the larger scale, way more to the point. Like, this is what, like, the smallest paragraph you can do. Whereas the smaller company may be the bigger paragraph of a little bit more, or like more substance, less just numbers. And
there's no hard and fast rule, but like maybe with the smaller company, get to the point of more craft the vision a little bit more. But with the larger company, just show the value. Just go to the straight up numbers, your reach, because that's what the marketing folks care about.
I'll tell you. Okay, well, I'll say this in a second. But so the two ways you may get sponsored, or you're trying to get sponsored. Let's say that you're looking for a sponsor, or one comes to you. That's the 2 ways. You're either going to reach out to someone, or they're going to reach out to you, and then you're going to take those 2 slightly different, approach them slightly different, because, you know, obviously if you're reaching out to someone, they probably don't know you, and you're having to pitch yourself to them. If they reached out to you, they're interested. They already know everything about you. They're already invested time in you. So there's a difference there in what you're going to do. First of all, I want to say this: if you have the question of, well, how much do I charge? Whenever one of these reach out to you, or you reach out to someone, go to socialbluebook.com, put in your information, look at that number, pick somewhere on the low side if you're just starting out, or on the high side if you've done deals and actually have a portfolio, or sort of a not a portfolio, what is this called? A test, have an example of one you've already done in the past that you can show worked. Say it again.
Like a resume?
No, like oh gosh, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Someone will get it. Just like you've done something in the past, so you're able to show it to them that, hey, I've been able to get this amount of numbers for a different company, and this is how much they paid. So that's, you know, whatever. So anyway, so let's say and this is in most cases, especially for channels starting off, you're approaching a sponsor. So first of all, I would try to get a smaller company sponsor first. So it's called a case study. You have a case study. Get a smaller company to sponsor you so that you have a case study to bring to a bigger company. Okay. So email a company. It's easy to realize what companies are small versus big. Just go look at their website. Or are they promoting their stuff on TV? Is it in the big box store? So approach like a smaller company, maybe like a finishing company or something like that, and try to get some smaller products. Even if your first go is just for product, so that you can have a case study to either bring back to that company or to another company, you can do that. But the key thing here is to have a case study, because what's inevitably going to happen may not be the first time, but probably be the second time, is that you're going to send an email, especially the bigger companies. They're going to go, okay, awesome, sounds great, really cool. Show me some numbers, basically. And so you're going to want to have some way to prove to this company your value more so than just views. Like maybe you have some affiliate links, or you have trackable links in some way, so you can show that, hey, I got 200,000 views and I sell 15 of these products a week through my link or whatever. Something like that is really valuable. It's not necessary, but like that'll help you out tremendously getting a sponsor. So when you reach out to a company, write up an email straight to the point. The best possible thing you can do is to have a project you are going to do regardless if you're using their stuff or not. Like, you're going to do this project so that, and have, tell them that I am doing this. This is what it's going to be. Have it all written out, how much you're going to need exactly. No, like, hey, could you give me some plywood? No, hey, could you give me 4 sheets of plywood? I need this many 3/4. I need this many 1/2 inch. Like, be specific on exactly what you need for the particular project that you're going to do. And that'll help you out tremendously, because they don't, the least amount of time they have to spend on follow-up emails, the better for you and better for them. So lay everything out short and simple at the beginning. That'll help you out a ton. That's probably my best advice for reaching out to companies, other than, like I've said before, make sure you're talking to the right people. Now, if they come to you, you're on the other side of the fence. It's a little bit easier. So if they come to you, they already have an expectation. So the best thing to do is try to figure out what that expectation is. If you're lucky, they've already spelled that out in their first email, but most times they won't. So ask all your questions before you send them a number. Like, say someone's like, hey, will you promote this on our channel or on your channel? And we want you to do this, 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 and this. And if they have something that's not listed there, make sure you ask that question first, and make sure you know everything that's going to be required of you. And also immediately right off the bat say, this, or I do have a current rate of X amount of dollars that I currently charge. So say your rate is like $600. So you say, currently for a 30-second ad, I charge $600. And let's go over all the details and make sure that that fits within that $600. And if it does, then you're good, and then you move on. And it's easy that way. But you can generally charge a little bit more if they come to you. Yeah, I don't know. If they come to you, it's pretty easy. I don't know what else. I don't know really any advice to give you. I've never had a company come to me. And I will say though that, like, Chris, you've touched on it, but like, I get probably 3 or 4 emails a week from like random companies that don't pertain to anything I do, especially, but even some that do, that are just reaching out on the basis of like, hey, can we send you a product and you put it in a video? And then, like, I got one yesterday that was like magnetic balls. It was like a kid's toy. And I'm like, how am I going to put this in a woodworking video? And since I've done the fidget spinner video, I've gotten, no joke, at least 10, if not 20 emails from fidget spinner companies wanting me to send me like a million fidget spinners. I'm like, I just not, if you look at my channel, I build stuff. I don't like show things off. So you'll get stuff like that and you'll have to filter through that. I mean, you'll immediately know. Like if it's like a 2-line thing of like, hey, we want to send you this, will you put it in a video? It's not legit.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times they're going to have like set parameters of what they want. This is so-and-so from marketing of, X company. And you're going to know if it's a big company, whether or not it's
a funny story I have similar.
But then
yeah, go ahead.
Also, oh man, I forgot.
I'm sorry.
I forgot. Go ahead and I'll remember.
All right. I was going to say, you said you had the thing when you built the fidget spinner. I built a wooden hex nut a couple of years back, I guess. Around that long ago. And then after that, I got emails from companies wanting to send me like nuts and bolts hardware, just like by the pound. Like it was, no, like that's not, I don't need that. That doesn't make sense at all.
I don't know if you ever, if we talked about this, sorry, I had to step out real quick, but did we talk about don't be afraid to get rejected by companies? Because that will happen.
And before we go down that, don't just remember what I was going to say. If you're new to this whole thing, I mean, you'll see this as you go. But if you're new to this, especially with really big companies, be aware. I'm in a situation right now where I just had this happen. Like really big companies that have like a marketing like agenda or policy, they may send you like a 15-page pamphlet of what they're going to expect, and you better read like every single line of it, because if it's like, let's say like it's a Coke can or something like that, in every shot that you hold the Coke can, it needs to be where you can see the full logo, because if you leave off one letter, it could be I don't know, it could be viewed as something differently. Like I know when we did the mattress sponsorship, they were like, in no way, shape, or form cover up one of the 4 stripes. Like it has to be 4 stripes showing on the mattress at all times that any of the stripes are shown. Because apparently like one of their competitors like came out with one that's 3 stripes or something. So you would maybe think it's a different mattress. And a lot of these companies have stuff like that. Some of them have policies where they're going to want to review what you make before you submit it. They're also going to want to tell you when you need to post it. They're going to want to like look it over and maybe have you re-edit something.
Yeah.
If they start throwing out stuff like that, your price goes way up through the roof.
Exactly.
Like way through the roof. Because anytime that happens, just go ahead and assume that you're going to sit 150 emails back and forth before you ever even get started, and then 150 more before you end it. And those emails take up a lot of time. And all that extra of like review, well, like what if they don't like it and they want you to redo it? Like some companies even have set in place where like if you were to post something and they didn't review it, they could refute paying you and not have to pay you at all under the contract. And I know several people who've had that happen on on Instagram. It makes sense to
a point,
but they hide it. It's like when I say that was not like disclosed to them verbally.
Oh, it's like
it was
hidden in the contract.
Hidden away.
Yeah,
and I know people who've had that happen.
That's like when people want to give give an honest review. Give an honest review. They'll post it without sending it to the company because they want to give an honest review of the product, and then they'll just be like, "Well, in the contract, if you actually look close enough, it said."
I mean, yeah, at that point, I would not have sympathy for that, because like for all you know, if you're signing a contract, it could say if you sign this thing, like you could be getting a sponsorship for the stupidest product ever. Like it could be a pair of scissors that someone's paying you to use in your video. And then it could, hypothetically, it could say in that contract, if you agree to the sponsorship, we now own your company or your house or like your car. I mean, stupid things like that are possible. So if you don't understand the contract, hire a lawyer to review it. And the other piece of advice I want to say, if someone is approaching you to work on something, don't be afraid to negotiate that price. And yeah, I mean, you said if they're throwing in conditions there, like edits and review. Well, review, I think that's pretty standard. But yeah, don't be afraid to negotiate.
I've only had that happen once. Once. I don't do that. Like I literally won't work with a company if I have to do that. I just won't do it. That bugs me so much because my creativity comes out in my editing a lot of times, and I don't want anybody to dictate my editing more than I'd rather someone dictate how I build something than how I edit the video. That's just me personally, but that I do not like that. And I just signed a contract with a company to do several videos. And one of the things is that they want to review it. And I literally I threw a crazy price at them. And I was like, this is what, it's going to take for you to be able to do this. Like, I'm not doing that because all it takes is for you to say, like, you spoke something like slightly wrong somewhere in the middle. And then I spend another 3 hours going back to take that one thing out and then re-editing and exporting and uploading and putting in all the information again. That's like my big pet peeve with stuff. That's my biggest one that I don't like to do. I just feel like they should trust your content. They are able to go watch, like I've got, I don't know how many videos, I probably have like 50 or 60 videos. They can go watch those videos and figure it out. I don't like it when companies do that. But also, Chris, I'll have to say that to defend people on the contract thing, 2 of my contracts now that I've been over 35 pages, and they're all easily readable. But when you get 15 pages in on a small print page, so I think a lot of these people get those 30-page contract agreement things in, and it's skim over the whatever section, and that's obviously on them, but they should disclose that.
I mean, yeah, they should. It's not really ethical on their part, and that to me is I've worked with single-digit page contracts. I haven't seen anything explode that far. I don't know if it's Canada versus US thing, or maybe I just haven't gotten into those kinds of more complex relationships. But yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, do you have a lawyer, Dylan, or you're still doing your, I don't know, how do you handle all those legal things? Like when you're reviewing a contract, do you still handle that yourself, or do you go through legal outsource? Yeah.
I haven't had to yet. I've been able to understand every single bit of it. I haven't had any contracts that weren't understandable, so I feel comfortable doing it myself. But if there ever is a time that I don't understand one, I will definitely spend $100 for someone to look over it. Depending on the size of but I don't like working with a company who's going to want that. If you're going in that much detail, let's do 5 videos, because this is going to take half the amount of time of creating the first video just to create the video, right? Yeah. I don't have time for that. I honestly, if I start having more of these, I'm either going to have to consider just not taking them at all, or figuring out some sort of I hate to use the word want an agent, but possibly look into seeing what that would cost to get one. Because right now I'm already like, and I don't even get, I don't get that many deals, but I'm already like overwhelmed with emails and negotiating and all that kind of stuff. And like I've had several things that I've done recently that I didn't know how to price because I've never been in that industry. It's getting to the point where I feel like I might need somebody's second opinion, maybe not full time, but have someone's phone number that I can, use, because people underestimate how much time that kind of stuff takes. When I go out of town for 3 days, I've got 100 emails that need to be looked at and answered. And that's not even including comments and Instagram messages and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not even we're not even big. Like, I can't imagine what it's like with 500,000 subscribers. I don't think you could physically do it. You would never get a project done.
Yeah, I mean, some of them have like a whole team behind them, right? So it's really quite impressive. But yeah, hopefully those were some useful and helpful things. We went, I think, it is deep into the pit of business talk as we could possibly go into on this episode. But
yeah, I hope you guys got something out of that, because I don't even know if I wrapped up what I was trying to say. I started and stopped 15 different things.
The beginning for me was a little rocky, so I hope you guys got it. Yeah.
Anyway, we so what should we? Sorry.
Do you think that's gonna wrap up?
I want to plug something real quick. I want to plug my secondary channel. It's called Wood Brew Life, and we haven't uploaded there in a while, but you should definitely go subscribe, because we're going to upload some travel videos, including one of the Oklahoma building events. So we'll actually be building something there and have video of all the guys hanging out and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, go check it out. We plan on I got a question for y'all. I want to ask y'all this, and we'll continue this conversation in the after show. But if you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment below or something. For the van, I've got like a lot of videos to make about it, like a ton that I want to do, and I don't know how like broken up I want to get. But do I post those on the Wood Brew channel, or do I post on Wood Brew Life? And y'all don't have to answer that. We'll answer it in the after show, but I'm just real confused at how I want to do that, because I don't want to switch people back and forth from channels, if you know what I mean. So let me know that if you'll have a preference there, because some people may not be interested, but I've had like an overwhelmingly good response to the van and building it and stuff. There seems to be a lot of people interested. All right.
Well, with that,
I'm done. I'll catch you guys later.
Say with that, Dylan.
We gotta say our Patreons.
Where can we find you, Dylan? What channel? What you have a YouTube channel? What?
Yeah, it's called like Wood Brew. We, according to like every person I ever tell that name to, we apparently brew beer. So we're under the age and brewing beer. Go check us out, Wood Brew.
Chris, what about you? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Toolify across the social media, under the name Toolify across the social medias, and on toolify.ca. Sorry for the tongue twist there. Justin.
You can find me as my name, Justin Levine, on any social media. And then YouTube, Justin Levine, you can make that. Like Dylan said earlier, we're going to head over to the after show.
Before we go, we want to thank our new patrons that became patrons last week. We have Chad from Mancrafting and Jim Rumsey. So thank you very much. And as always, many, many, many thanks to our top patron, Devin. We
absolutely
appreciate that a lot.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Okay, we're going to head over to Patreon, do our after show. We'll catch you guys next time.
Cheers. Thanks for listening. I remembered not to mute my mic this time, so I can actually say bye.
Bye, guys.